Hello, everyone. Thank you so much once again for giving some time and space for me to come in here into your space and share just a few leadership tips in support of your development as leaders. I find that these quick 15-minute hits are a very efficient way for you to get some insight, get some support, but not blow up your schedule. So I hope you find it helpful. I certainly am grateful to all those that join in, ask questions, send us DMs even after the fact. It helps me to know that this is adding value to your day. Also know that they are saved on our YouTube page. So if you missed the last one and you want to get some get tools to add to your toolkit, feel free to check out our YouTube site and you'll see all of the live LinkedIn lives saved there. Okay, so that was my public service announcement. Let's just get into today's topic, which is around how to balance work and team, right? So whether or not you are a higher ed leader, executive, dean of a school, or doing some really important work on the higher ed side, or if you happen to be someone on the corporate side, I think we all find it challenging to do all of the things that are required of us as executives, as well as be accessible and connected with your team. So I thought this would be a super helpful kind of quick lunch and learn 15-minute bite-sized chunk to support you all in figuring out how to balance those things, because it's often hard. And when I work with clients, this comes up a lot, right? Like, man, I have a slate of things to do, right? I have all of these meetings to go to. I have all of these kind of work tasks for my own work. And then I have this group of people that are looking for me to lead them. And I just don't know how to give everyone the attention that they need. So here are just three succinct ways to do that, to balance that, and in particular to make sure that your staff, your team, feels seen, feel heard, feel supported by you. So here is the first one. The first one is pretty simple. It is to block time on your calendar. If you follow me on any of the social platforms, you know that I live by my calendar. It's a way for me to remind myself of what I need to do, but it's also for aspects of my calendar that are public to my team or to those that may want to connect with me. It also lets folks know when I'm available. And so in particular for you as an executive, it's important to put time on your calendar for your team, whether or not it is demonstrative of like a public display of, hey, this is the time for you, right? Like, I am prioritizing you. It could be a gesture for them to just see that publicly, but it also is for you to hold space in your calendar to focus on your team. Now, in this time, I used to block this and then make it public to my team. I would send out an email and say, hey, here are the block times I have for the month of September. So if you need specific time for me that maybe you're not my direct report, but you still want to get FaceTime, maybe share a project with me or ask me some questions, know that this is the time I have blocked. So make sure you connect with my assistant and carve out 15, 20 minutes to connect with me. So it could be time for that. It could be time for perhaps one-on-ones with your direct reports. It could just be informal drop-ins that people will be like, oh, this leader has time for us this, at this window. Let me drop in and say hi, or, whatever. So it can also create that space for informal connections. It also is time that if no one needs you, but they know it's there, so they know that you are available to them. But if no one's at your door, you can do work specifically for your team. This could be writing out your performance reviews. This could be reviewing something that they may have asked you to review that really kind of has fallen down to the lower part of your priority list because you have all this other stuff. So I consider it team time, whether it's like actually connecting with your team member or it's time that you work on team-related tasks. It is such a beautiful thing when you already have that in your calendar and you don't let anybody override it. And you know that is the time that you approve vacations, you review journal entries that they want you to review. You do whatever it is, right? Lots of things that can be done. And I used to block 2 hours a week for that. And I didn't allow my one-on-ones to be carved during that time, but depending on your needs, you may have to. But I allowed it to be um, folks that were a level below my direct reports or below that. They could meet with me, and there was like a sign-up sheet for them to use that time. Or it's when I did team-related work. It was so helpful for everyone to see it. And I honestly think that it helped them to be like, oh, okay, Latoya is prioritizing us too. That in the midst of all these other big meetings she has, she creates and carves out time in her busy calendar for us. I think it's a beautiful thing for you to display as a leader that they're a priority too. So that's the first one. All right, the second one is to schedule any of your like team meetings. Maybe you have those biweekly or monthly or quarterly or whatever it is. Schedule those things in advance, y'all. Because if you know, like I know, your calendar as an executive gets booked even outside of your control, right? But if you have those on the calendar, your calendar, at least somebody may have to ask you to override it or to book something that may be in conflict. Or I used to do this a lot. Be like, well, I already have that schedule back in the summer. I scheduled my team's retreat. So no, I can't have that meeting with you for 30 minutes because I have my team retreat, and that's been on the books for quite a few months now. So schedule all of those meetings, your big team weekly meetings or bi-weekly or monthly, whatever your cadence is, but also schedule like your strategic planning retreat in advance. Schedule your social time. Maybe you have happy hours or birthday gatherings, whatever. My point is, y'all, schedule them things in advance, because if not, what will happen is that your calendar will quickly eat away, and you will then be trying to schedule them, and your team will feel they will perceive it as you trying to squeeze them in versus things being out of your control and you're just doing the best you can. So if you get a little bit of downtime, particularly as the semester has started, work with your assistant or whoever manages your calendar and go ahead and populate it with all of the important meetings that you have for your team. That way they see themselves as important and you already have that carved out. Man, what if you did that for the whole academic year? Certainly for the semester, but what if you did it through May? The end of the year gathering is already on their calendar. They will see you prioritizing them with that type of forward thinking, and that it's just, it may seem so insignificant to you even as I'm saying it. I'm telling y'all, it matters. It lets them feel seen and valued and that you are planning for them, right? So these are things, like I said, that are small little moments, but will pay off in dividends with your team's respect of you and feeling like they are respected by you. And then the last thing is something that when I say this to my coaching clients, they're like, oh, okay, is this third thing around balancing work and your team is to include team topics when you meet with your boss. Why? Because like I said, we're trying to balance both worlds. You want your boss to see, yes, here are the updates of everything, big that I'm working on or whatever. And here are updates of what my team's working on. Here's something that they're challenged with that I would love your collaboration and insight on how to manage. Here's my team that is equally as important as these tasks that we typically walk through, these strategic tasks. My team is also a part of my strategy. And so at my bi-weekly or my monthly meetings with my boss, I'm also including them on my agenda. Listen, it keeps your team top of mind to your boss. It shows your boss that they are a part of your agenda. It lets them see that you are not only a strategic leader around these big tasks for the university or for whatever organization you work for, but they have a mind toward their team. Oh, okay, then you're telling me what's going on with your team. Okay. Oh, you're struggling with that. Let me help. Oh, let me roll up my sleeves and get in these trenches with you. It does a lot of things when you bring your team's voice and your your concern for your team to that particular table. So I always encourage people, if you meet with your boss really regularly, maybe do it once a month. I'm not saying you have to do it for every meeting. You know kind of what the appropriate cadence is, but don't go a whole semester and not have brought up your team, because guess what happens? You typically then will only bring up your team when there's a problem. That's not the view you want to give your boss. You want to give your boss the view that, hey, regular updates, the good, the neutral, and the challenging. I want updates on all of it. But if you always just bring problems to your boss around your team, they start to kind of be like, well, dang, what's going on? Why is every time we're talking about Latoya's team, is always something wrong? Is how's she doing as a leader of people? Huh. So you got to balance that thing and include both. Hey, here's some great updates. Let me praise my team and show off about what my team's up to. And then, oh, maybe, months later, oh man, I'm really struggling with this thing with my team member. Can you help me? Okay. So those are the elements that I would just want to share with you. Again, they are 3 quick hits. It's about blocking your time on your calendar for your team, either your team directly or task related to them. It's scheduling all these meetings and events that are team related in advance. And it's also incorporating team topics, whether or not it's good, bad, or otherwise, with your boss at your meetings. Okay. So we have a couple of minutes to answer perhaps any questions that may be on your minds around this topic. And I see one already have come in. So let me take a look at this first one. So how much time should you block off your calendar? That's a really important logistic to answer. So for me, I blocked off 2 hours, and it was every other week, 2 hours. It was Tuesday. And it was a Tuesday, 2 hours. It was typically either from 10 to 12 or 11 to 1. And I blocked off that time. You do what you think. I think an hour is not enough. So I would say at least 90 minutes to 2 hours. If you can block off a half day, run and tell that is fantastic if you could do that. But I would say on average about 2 hours. Okay, cool. Another one. Do you recommend scheduling recurring one-on-ones with each direct report or having open office hours? Great question. And let me be very clear. Schedule regular recurring one-on-ones. Run, don't walk. Schedule regular occurring one-on-ones. Why? Because I just told y'all that our calendar's clear, get full. So if you don't have that regularly scheduled, you're going to end up going weeks and months without talking to your direct report because you're busy. And I can't tell you how many times I hear that. But I'm like, oh, how often do you speak with your boss? Oh, we don't get, he or she's so busy, we don't get to meet regularly. That's a bad look. Schedule them. And you all can decide if you can shorten them if you don't have much on the agenda. But I would say have a regular touch point, minimally bi-weekly, honestly, with your direct report that is recurring. Office hours are is like a yes and. But your regular recurring one-on-ones is for your typical agenda. Catch me up on what's going on with this work. Catch me up on you, how you're doing. Catch me up on what you're working on from your own personal development. But that should be a regular cadence. It should not be catch me if you can, or I can fit you in during my office hours. No, ma'am. No, sir. Awesome. Okay. And then last question, what are some team topics to discuss? Oh, y'all are on it. What are some team topics to discuss with your boss? I love to showcase my teams. I would showcase projects that they're working on, successes they're having, collaborations they're doing across functions. I always find that to be great because you want to show off. You want to put your team in a great light because your boss may know of future projects that your team members can be working on. And remember, our goal is to build multiple leaders, right? And so I'm always trying to develop those that I'm working with. So yeah, I'm showing off their work. I'm giving them an update on maybe something that I'm working on, or like with Susan, she is really excited about moving to this level. Here's some projects I'm thinking of putting her on. Do you have any that coming down the pipe that I should consider her for? So that, some development questions is another great topic. And then the last one I would say is if you are having some challenges, if you need some advice or support, like, hey, have you ever dealt with this? Can you give me some advice on how to move forward in this? So those are three, just off the top of my head, topics that I typically coach folks around in getting their boss's eyes on. And certainly there are others, but those are the top three that I've typically talked to folks about. Y'all, 15 minutes went by so fast. I can't believe it. But here we are at the end of our 15 minutes together. I hope you found this to be helpful. I'm excited about supporting you and giving you tools to make sure your team feels supported and seen by you. So please try these things out. Let me know how they're going. DM me if you have questions or other suggestions that I can perhaps share on my platform. But if you want to talk to me more directly about some of this, please, let's be sure to connect. I think there's a link in the chat or in the comments for you to reach out to me. So until next time, it was great spending this 15 minutes with you. If you have other topics you want me to talk about in 15 minutes, feel free to shoot me a DM and I'll add it to our catalog of what we'll talk about next. All right. Have a great Wednesday and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.